It's time for the Sunday NFL Divisional Round games. Let's talk a little football. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're here to talk some Sunday NFL Divisional Round action. If you're looking for the best bets for the Saturday games, that video is already out, so go check that out when you get a chance. But also going to be on the Kyle Crum Show in the morning on Saturday and Sunday, going over these games, breaking them down, and giving all of our best bets and all that. So come join. It's a lot of fun every morning. So before we get anything, any graphics you see in this video or future videos are from an app called OUTLIER, the best betting research tool on the market today. I use it every single day. Click the link below and you get a 7-day free trial. You got absolutely nothing to lose. Just see if you like it and then go from there. But I'm ready to get into it now. And that means it's time for that dad joke. So here we go. Why do all actors always say break a leg? They always want to be in a cast. That's all I got for you. In this video, we're going to preview and give our best bets for the Rams at Eagles, and then the same for the Ravens at the Bills, and then finish it with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and come join this awesome community as we're heading towards the 40,000 mark in subscribers. Cannot thank you guys enough for all the support. So let's get into it, and that means it's time for game one. All right, this first one takes us out to Philadelphia, where the Eagles host the LA Rams. Eagles -6. Total in this one is 43.5. Let's preview this game before we get into my two best bets. We have a game between two teams that maybe one looked the best last weekend and the one looked the worst for the two winners because the Rams absolutely annihilated the Vikings and the Eagles struggled to beating the Packers. They only had 290 total yards. But either way, they're both here. So let's talk some stats and trends because some of these might get you some winners just in the preview, and that's kind of the hope, is to just help you out any way we can. The Eagles have allowed a league best 5.9 points per game at home in the first half. That's incredible. The Rams are also only averaging 6.9 points per game in the first half on the road. So, I mean, you have a great one. You can maybe do Rams team total under 9.5 in the first half. Maybe you just like the Phillies. The Eagles -3.5 in the first half. Just some options. Just want to give you some trends. Since 2020, Philly at home as a 7 or less point favorite, 13-2 against the spread. That is impressive. Since 2022, Stafford is 15-26-1 on the second half spread, the worst in the NFL. I had no idea that he was that bad in the second half, but just want to point that out. Earlier meeting this season, Eagles won 37-20 and just put a beat down on them. Saquon set a franchise and personal record with 255 rush yards. A.J. Brown still at 109 yards receiving. Philly dominated 481 to 290 total yards. Now let's talk some injuries. Rams, Tyler Higbee, tight end for them, questionable, likely to play. He had a good game last weekend. Cornerback Akello Witherspoon, he was questionable he hurt his thigh in the game last week. And then Eagles, the tight end Dallas Goedert, questionable with an illness. I expect him to go. Wide receiver A.J. Brown, probable as long as he's not reading a book. Linebacker Nakobe Dean is out, injured last week. It's going to hurt their run defense a little bit. He is a good linebacker. Against the spread numbers, Rams are 5-3 against the spread on the road. Eagles 5-4 ATS at home this season. The Rams 5-3 to the under on the road. The Eagles were the number one under team at home in the NFL at 7-2, tied with, I believe it was the Houston Texans. So, with that said, bet number one, under 44, -110 on BetMGM for a half unit. That's right. I bet the under in the I keep saying Phillies, in the Eagles game against the Packers last weekend, and that was an easy cash. So, let's talk some numbers now on this one. Eagles, we just mentioned it. Number one under team at home, 7-2. Jalen Hurts is 5-1 to the under in the playoffs in his career. That's another thing. Rams struggle outdoors offensively. 14 of their last 18 outdoor games have gone under 44. Only here can you find that. 14 of the last 18 outdoor games under 44. Last meeting game went over the total, but again, the game was in LA. Saquon ran for 250 yards. I do not see those things happening again here in Philly. Rams defense, they have looked much better since that Philly game. They've actually given up 14 or less points in 5 of the last 7 games. Their pass rush is a strength. I expect them to make Jalen Hurts beat them and load the box a little bit more. Doesn't mean they're going to stop Saquon, but I would be shocked if Saquon has a game like he had last time. So it's going to put a little bit more pressure on Jalen Hurts, I believe. And then Eagles defense, it's been a top-tier unit all season. At home, they have actually given up the second fewest points per game, 15.3. They are very tough to score on. Have one of the best secondaries around. It's going to be an interesting matchup between them and then Puka and Cooper Kupp on the other side. But this is also why I like it. Red zone defenses. These defenses are in the top 6 for red zone defense, both allowing just under 50% touchdown on opponent red zone drives. And then weather, expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow, 71% chance of snow during the day, 52% chance at night, a high of 35, a low of 18. I expect a lot of running, conservative type play calling, at least in the first half. And the Eagles are a run first team anyway. So I do think the weather obviously benefits the Eagles in this one. And I would lean Eagles on the side if I had to. But for me, all signs point to an under. So give me the under 44 as my first best bet. And now, bet number 2. Here we go. It's another tight end against the Rams. Give me Dallas Goedert over 3.5 receptions, minus 120 on BetMGM. This is a 1-unit play. That first one was a half-unit play. Let's talk Goddard for a second. He has played in only 11 games this season, only 9 games, though, from start to finish. So as you can see by this outlier screenshot, he's over in 7 of those 9 games. Again, not including those 2 injured games. In the 9 games, 4+ receptions in 7 of those 9. He even had 4 catches when Saquon ran for 255 yards against the Rams last time. And then the last 5 games, he is averaging 5.2 targets per game, 6 targets in 2 straight. A standard game for Goddard really is around 4 catches maybe, and now we get a beautiful matchup. We hit on the tight end last week with TJ Hawkinson against his Rams team. Let's now do it with Goddard. The Rams have given up the most receptions to tight ends, the 5th highest target rate to tight ends, the top 7 highest catch rate. As you saw last week, Hawkinson caught all 5 balls all thrown to him last week. Now let's talk the last 5 tight ends to face the Rams. Hawkinson, 5 catches. Noah Fant, 5 catches. Trey McBride, 12. Tyler Conklin, 5 catches. And George Kittle, 4 catches. All 5 went over, guys. I just absolutely love this one. Rams defense, one of the better pressure teams in the NFL. That's helped lead to quarterbacks having to get rid of the ball quicker. That bodes well here. That means we want to find guys who are shorter routes and right around the line of scrimmage. How about Dallas Goedert? ADOT is only 6.5 this season. That is an average depth of target. That's what you like to see. He is the short passing game outlet for Jalen Hurts. It's the best possible matchup for a tight end. He has done this in 7 of 9 games. Let's do it again. Give me Dallas, Texas, over 3.5 receptions. That is my second and final best bet for this game. And now let's move on to the Ravens and Bills. All right, this next one takes us out to Buffalo. Bill, won't you come home tonight? The Bills hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens minus 1.5, total 51.5. Let's start out with some wild trends. Let's do it. Josh Allen, 15-2 on the second half spread. He has won 11 straight on the second half. Guys, that's crazy. I mean, that's a lot of profit if you just bet that. Baltimore opened up as a 1.5 point underdog and is now a favorite. In the 6 games that's happened to Lamar, where he was a underdog, then is now a favorite by closing. He is 6-0 straight up, 6-0 against the spread, covering it by 9.1 points per game. If Buffalo continues to stay as an underdog before the kickoff, this would be the first time as a home underdog in the playoffs since 1967. I was negative 19 years old. 18-game streak for them. That doesn't help your betting at all. It's just info. But this is the game of the weekend, obviously. Earlier matchup, Ravens put an absolute beat down on the Bills back in week 4. They won 35-10. Derrick Henry, 199 rush yards. Lamar only needed 18 pass attempts. Ravens out-yarded Buffalo 427-236. Buffalo did have a short week going into that one. But either way, in both of these games today, we had an earlier matchup that was an absolute blowout. Injuries. Zay Flowers, the number 1 wide receiver for the Ravens, questionable but has not practiced yet. I would be surprised if he plays, but you never know. The Bills' 6th man on the offensive line, Alec Anderson, is questionable. He's a versatile offensive lineman. That's all it is. Bills' backup running back Ray Davis is questionable to play. Both teams coming off easy wins last week, as you guys know. Let's talk some against the spread numbers. So Ravens 6-3 ATS on the road this season. Bills 6-3 ATS at home this season. Ravens 7-2 to the over on the road. One of the best over teams on the road. And Bills are 6-3 to the over at home this season. So if you go by trends, obviously this one would lean over. But my first best bet in this one, it's a side. Give me the Bills on the money line, plus 100 on FanDuel for a half unit. Let's get this out of the way first. Ravens are freaking good. They are. So whatever I say, don't think it as me saying the Ravens suck or anything like that. This is just me telling you why I think the Bills are going to win. But so it's one great team has to lose. Hash brown facts. Yes, the Ravens are 5-1 in their last 6, but let's talk about it. The only good win they had was against the Houston Texans, who at that time were really struggling. They beat the Steelers twice. They've been awful the last month and a half. Beat the Browns, horrendous. Beat the Giants, horrendous. Now, obviously, you still got to win those games, and that's good. The only loss they had in that stretch was against the only legit team they played when they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. Ravens on the road, they have not been tested much versus top-tier teams. They lost a tight one in KC all the way back in week 1. Beat the Chargers and the Bucks. Those are the only 2 above-average teams they've played and beat on the road. This Bills team is going to be a different animal. So it's also not easy beating a really good team like Buffalo twice in one season, as you guys know. Last matchup, Bills did not have 2 linebackers, Milano and Bernard. and those are huge, obviously. Cornerback Teron Johnson, their nickelback, also didn't play. All three guys will be in. Those two linebackers will help this run defense. I do expect them to slow down Lamar a lot better than they did last time. Bills defense, since week 13, the Bills are the 5th best run defense in the entire NFL. They will be better versus Henry. I believe it. We'll see what happens. Henry is not easy, but if they can at least slow him down, this Baltimore offense could be in some trouble because it's going to be on Lamar's arm. Not saying he can't throw, but he's going to be without his best receiver in Zay Flowers. Buffalo is also elite versus outside wide receivers, so it's going to be tough in general in the passing game. Buffalo is 13th in receiving yards allowed to tight ends as well, so it's not going to be just some super easy matchup for Andrews as well, especially with these linebackers now back for Buffalo and all that. So Ravens defense, their DBs haven't been tested much in 5 to 6 weeks. Their best quarterback they've faced is struggling CJ Stroud and Russell Wilson. Josh Allen, as we know, is a completely different animal. He just lit up the Broncos' top tier secondary, who covers better than Buffalo, or better than Baltimore. So yes, Baltimore has made adjustments in the midway through the season, switching a guy to the safety and doing some things, and they've looked better. But also they haven't faced some elite pass offense or anything like Josh Allen in this team. So overall, I love getting a top 5 team at home as an underdog. I love that they lost the first meeting because, again, it's hard to beat a team twice, and this will be a much different game in colder weather in Buffalo. This will not be easy. I think the Bills are more equipped to slow down Henry now. They got their 2 linebackers, and also nickelback obviously helping as well. I just think the Buffalo Bills have a good game through the air here and can score a little bit, and I don't think Baltimore can quite catch up. But again, I'm not expecting a Buffalo blowout or anything. I just think they find a way to get it done and move on to the AFC Championship game. So give me the Buffalo Bills on the money line as my first best bet. And my second one, we're going to quarterback. Give me Lamar Jackson over 52 rush yards at -110 on Bet365. This is a 1-unit play. So like I mentioned in the last bet, I do think Buffalo can slow down Henry a bit more. That means Lamar is going to have to use his legs, in my opinion. So quarterbacks run more in the playoffs. If you haven't been able to see that already, it's been happening. It's happened for quite a few years now. Lamar this season, he's over in 9 of 18 games, 50%, but he's over in 5 of the last 6. Now when it's crunch time, he's starting to run the ball more. 63 plus rush yards in those 5 overs. So when he's gone over by quite a bit. He had 81 rush yards last weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's averaging 55 rush yards per game this season. Baltimore's been playing with the lead a lot, been playing some weak competition, playing with the lead, hasn't needed to run. I do not expect that. This will be a very competitive game. Lamar will have to run, and he's going to have to play all the way to the buzzer, in my opinion, because I think it'll be a close competitive game. Bills are the 8th in rush yards allowed to quarterback, so it's a tough matchup, but it doesn't mean much to me. Lamar already had 54 rush yards in their blowout win against Buffalo, and that was also when Derrick Henry also ran all over him. But the Bills haven't faced many mobile quarterbacks. Most mobile ones, other than Lamar since week 1, Bo Nix, Drake May, and CJ Stroud. Exactly. So they got to face guys like Flacco, Goff, Stafford, Mason Rudolph, Aaron Rodgers, Brock Purdy, and Tua twice. I mean, we're talking absolute statues. That's what they face. So they're going to be, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for them, and I think Lamar Jackson will be fine. So that's why the matchup in the 8th fewest doesn't mean much to me. But overall, Lamar's going to have to do anything possible to win. Just because I think he's going to go over this, by the way, doesn't contradict the Bills' money line or anything like that. But I think we see him run quite a bit, whether it's design runs, scrambles, things like that. So give me Lamar over 52.5 receiving yards as my final bet for Sunday. Again, any added plays will be in the pinned comments on X and on Discord. So before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. The 4 best bets for Sunday. Under 44 in the Rams and Eagles game, -110 for a half unit. Dallas Goedert over 3.5 receptions, -120 for a full unit. And then the Bills on the money line for a half unit. And Lamar Jackson over 52.5 rush yards, -110 for a full unit. Let's get some winners. Again, the Saturday video is already out. Go check that out. We have 4 best bets also for those 2 games. But thank you guys for watching. As always, it's going to be an awesome weekend of football. So I hope you all have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.